Job Corps being phased out by the end of this month. Before I give you my understanding, let's get into the clip.
They had us go to the wreck at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
The staff on site would not say a word to us, but sources tell us it was shut down after recent cuts at the Department of Labor, which oversees the program.
I didn't want him to be a statistic, so I wanted him to be focused and get his education.
16-year-old Carlton Davis lived here, and his mom recently lost their house, and there's more.
I have breast cancer surgery next week, so now I'm debating having my surgery canceled so I can make sure my son is okay.
I'm livid. I am livid. I cannot believe this.
Community activist Pastor Mo trying to help out here after getting calls from frantic mothers. He's worried about the short and long-term solutions for these kids.
The ones who are trying to get it right. This is why I'm so pissed off. These are not kids are in a youth home who got caught in a crime. These are kids who are trying to avoid getting caught in a crime.
Now, let me start off by saying, do I believe that the Job Corps program should be shut down? No, I do not. Before I really get into my opinion on this whole situation, I just want to pull up some statistics on Job Corps so we can all have a proper understanding of what we're getting into. This is the U.S. Department of Labor website here. I will leave the link in the description. This is a news release from the U.S. Department of Labor, releases new Job Corps transparency report. So essentially, this is the report on the data, the numbers involving the Job Corps program. It says below here is a summary of overall findings from PY performance year 2023. Average graduation rate, traditional was 32%. WIOA, I think that stands for, it's an organization that gathers this data. I think that's Workforce Initiative Opportunity Act, but don't quote me. Their definition was 38%. Average cost per enrollee, $49,000, basically 50 grand. Average cost per student per year, $80,000. Average total cost per graduate, $187,000. WIOA definition, $155,000. Job Corps participants' earnings post separation. So essentially, when these students, the 38% that do complete the program, what do they go on post Job Corps to earn? $16,695. Average cost of highest center cost per graduate. So basically, this is the, I guess, most inefficient centers. It can cost up to $500,000 per graduate. $500,000 per graduate. The top 50 least efficient programs averages $319,000 per graduate. And average cost of highest center cost per graduate. The 10 least efficient programs, $385,000 per graduate. The top 50 average is $252,000 per graduate. So now we have the numbers. This is the data. Let me give you my understanding. It's going to be a little bit of a different take than most people. In the coming days, are probably going to see a lot of other YouTubers reacting to these videos, and they're going to say, hey, the Job Corps program should be closed. It's sad, Essentially, that's it. Now, while I do think the job program should have been left open, or they remained open, maybe they should have could have found a way to maybe run it more efficiently. We cannot look at these numbers and say that the program was a success. With a 38% graduation rate, that's abysmal. Again, in any other field, any other service, 38% would be unacceptable. If you went to get your phone repaired, you went to a doctor, and they told you that their success rate was 38%, and would you go to that doctor? Would you go to that? Would you use that good or service? So a 38% graduation rate is absolutely nasty if we're just being honest. Then we have postgraduate salaries, $17,000. You can go out essentially and work a minimum wage job making $7.50, $8 an hour, and essentially earn the same thing. What I'm trying to get at here is, yes, I understand you have people who are in these Job Corps programs who maybe didn't have a parent in the household. Maybe their parent was on drugs. Maybe their parent, died in some type of freak accident or something along those lines. But those tend to be the exceptions to the rules. Many people in these Job Corps programs actually have parents, like we saw in the initial clip where the lady mentioned she was going to have to skip her breast cancer surgery because of the Job Corps program closing. And the first thing that came to mind is, where's this young man's father? Again, we gotta get away from putting responsibilities and accountability on other groups in the government. And a lot of people are not going to want to hear this. A lot of people are, are going to try to downplay it and make it seem like this doesn't exist. But it's very, very real. We have to stop having children when we're not in a proper financial position. We have to stop having children or getting with people, hooking up with people without using protection. We have to stop getting with, if you're a man, getting with a woman because her booty is rotund. I mean, if you're a woman, you got to stop getting with a man because you like the way his eyes, you like the way his hair looks, and you think that they think that the kids will be cute. We got to start thinking long term, so we won't be in situations where we're dependent upon a handout. We're dependent upon some type of government entity or some type of nonprofit organization to take care of responsibilities that we should have already planned and had coverage for. Again, I know a lot of people are not going to like this take. And I do believe the job program should remain open. Now, it does definitely need some restructuring, seeing these numbers. Absolutely. Do I think it's diabolical that they're closing the program at the beginning of the summertime? And you're going to have a lot of these young boys and young girls going to be left defending the streets. And it's only going to probably increase crime in the summertime. Probably going to increase the likelihood of them, getting into trouble, robbing, stealing, senseless fights, but we can't take the spotlight off the parents. It starts at home. It really, truly does start at home. You had a lot of parents who always want to shift the blame on the school. They want to shift their responsibilities off onto Job Corps. They want to shift their responsibilities off onto Section 8. They want to shift their responsibilities off to EBT. No, you had this child, so you should have a plan and be responsible for their success.
Closing down Job Corps is not going to end well. All right, this is just my take. I'm not even trying to be real educated on this. Just my take here on them shutting down Job Corps. It's not going to end well for anyone, especially for the poor youth that are there, because the point is they're basically being kicked out into the street. Okay, Job Corps houses and teaches youth from 16 to 24 all across America. A lot of them were youth that would have been in trouble or had been in trouble, and they found a direct path to Job Corps to stay out of trouble and gain skills and trades. Okay, and a lot of them, they come out and become plumbers, electricians, all the things that we need in society. Okay. My point is that a lot of these troubled youth are homeless, don't have family or support system. That's why they're there. Okay? We all know that. Okay? They are shutting them down effectively June 2nd. They're basically kicking them to the street, kicking thousands of troubled youth to the street in time for summer. That is what the administration is doing.
Again, now I want to say I do agree with them shutting this program at the beginning of the summertime. I definitely think they could have at least waited to the end of summer to initiate this rollout. But again, even this guy here in the clip keeps on trying to pass the blame on to the Trump administration. He keeps trying to pass the blame on to other people, but not the parents, not the mothers, not the fathers. What happened to having a community that raises a child? That's what we need to go back to. And people, we're not addressing the root of the issue. Again, like I said, it doesn't matter if the Job Corps program was to stay open for another 20 years. If we don't address the issue of proper family planning, again, choosing the proper mate not off of physical, but actually, is this person going to be a good mother? Is this person going to be a good father? Do they possess those qualities? That's the core of this issue, because if we address that, then there would really be no need for a Job Corps in many cases. Again, we do have exceptions. I just want to make this very clear. We do have exceptions to the rules where you have children, parents who are incarcerated, parents are on drugs. Again, maybe they got into some type of freak accident, but we got to stop making these minority type situations the majority.
Of a Job Corps student, similarly emotional about what will happen to the students left behind.
It's plenty of kids in that building who depend on that building that don't have nobody. Plenty of kids that don't have a parent or nobody in their family like me.
Nolan says she had to pick up her daughter from Job Corps without any notification from an official at the facility. She says the most painful part, never being allowed to help her child with her belongings.
To watch my baby bring all her belongings down with 4 other students who were residents here was heartbreaking. They done created a domino effect. Them kids in there, that aggression gonna come out some way, and all aggression don't come out in a helpful way.
Again, she said that it broke her heart to see her daughter come down with all her belongings and have to pack them into the car. My issue is, again, it comes back to the parents, man. You know, I just don't. If I don't have kids, right? But if I had kids, right, I would make it sure it was my duty, my responsibility. I don't care if I had to work up from sun up to sundown to be able to provide for my son, my daughter. I would do whatever's possible to try to give them the best life possible that I could. Even if that means I had to sacrifice, I had to go without things, I would do any and everything with every ounce of energy in my body to put them in the proper position so they can have the best opportunities of life and not have to be dependent upon these government entities where, depending upon who gets in office, at the stroke of a pen, programs can be canceled out and shut down. That's the point that I'm really trying to drive home here. We got to get to the core of the issue. Again, yes, it's sad that Job Corps is closing, but I think a lot of people are missing the big picture.
And that's why you guys were shitting on college and getting an education. Oh, I thought you wanted to promote trades. I thought you wanted to promote more people working with their hands and doing things that provided value. And that's why you guys were shitting on college and getting an education, because more people need to know trades. And then as soon as you cut the funding for that bullshit, right, or attack schools, then you cut the funding for Job Corps. Job Corps, right? The least, like the people who have almost nothing, close to nothing, or right on the edge. And they go to Job Corps to get skills. I know so many people who could have made the wrong turn. And they went to Job Corps and they got those skills. But now we know what the real goal is to fill those prisons. That's it.
Now, it may be true that this definitely is going to potentially increase enrollment in prisons. Some people say that this is an agenda to help bolster military enlistment, which may be true. But people keep he's kind of being a little bit disingenuous, in my opinion, because he keeps talking about how he knows all these people that graduated from Job Corps and it turned their life around. And that may be true, but when we look at the statistics, it's showing us that only 38% graduation rate. So roughly 4 out of every 10 kids are even graduating from this program. And even when they do graduate, they only go on to make $17,000. Again, this program is broken. Do they need to replace it? Do they need to revamp it with something else? Absolutely. Should they have closed the program? No. But we can't look at these numbers and in good faith say, man, I don't see, I don't see why they continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. That's literally the definition of insanity. 38% graduation rate. Again, look at the cost per student. I mean, in the most inefficient facilities, it cost over $500,000. $500,000 per graduate. Per graduate. Again, it's very sad that they are closing down these Job Corps. I just want to reiterate this because I know that a lot of people are going to be up in arms in the comments. So I just want to make it very clear. I don't believe that the Job Corps program should have been closed. They should have restructured it. They should have, tried to find a way to maybe modify this thing to make it more efficient. But I honestly believe without attacking the core of the issue, which is trying to promote small families, strong families, proper family planning, being strategic of who you get with, being strategic with who you lay down with. And let's just keep it real. We've all probably had got with somebody based off their looks. Again, like I said, if he was a guy, maybe he was, like I said, the way the ass was looking in the sundress and you had to hit it. Cool. We all been there, done that. But what I'm saying is wrap it up. Be smart. Don't make permanent, lifelong ties with individuals is just temporary. But let me know how y'all feel in the comments below. I'm sure that this is going to spark a lot of debate in the comments. I'm open to it. I'm open to hear the back and forth. Let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.